There we go. Thanks for joining, everybody. Sheba, thanks for having me. I hope everybody in the room can hear me all right. When you get a chance, if you could stop your screen share so I can share on my side, that would be great. This presentation is one that I just did at Tahoe Dreaming for the first time a few weeks ago. Sheba was there and saw the presentation, so she asked me to come speak to this group. And it's really about uncovering something that a lot of people, myself included, didn't think was possible as far as creating reports and data sets in Salesforce. But through some experimentation and sort of encountering these in the wild a couple of times, I found that there is a configuration that allows you to bring together records from sibling objects in a non-joined report so that you can have a data set that's not readily available anywhere else. Sheba, would you be able to stop sharing so I can share on my side? While she's taking care of that, a little bit about me. I'm based in Baltimore, Maryland on the East Coast, so it's almost 9 p.m. here for me. I've been an independent consultant since April of 2020. First time I logged into Salesforce was way back in 2012. I worked for a nonprofit organization and they were using Salesforce. I had never heard of Salesforce and I was just an end user at the time. So during my couple years at that organization, I became their accidental admin and learned how to make Salesforce work to make my job easier. Eventually, I convinced them to sort of shift my title into, it was systems analyst at the time. It was my entry point into the Salesforce ecosystem. From that point, I was able to do a couple projects to help that organization with organizing some data that they weren't really keeping track of in any formatted way. So I built out some architecture and built out some reports, and it all led back to trying to answer a question that they could never answer. This was like a training organization, so they have all these different instructors, they have all these students taking all these courses, and then they go on to take the exam at the end, and they didn't know which instructor was effective at teaching because they weren't keeping track of the student pass rates. So what's interesting about that whole project and sort of how I got into the Salesforce ecosystem is at the end, we were trying to answer a question using data. And a lot of what I've learned and tend to work on since that point has been how to get data out of Salesforce, which led me to the reporting functionality and really diving in to become an expert on how reporting works, because every single project I've been on since that first one has always been about tracking something in an automated, easy way, and then getting some results out of that data. So analyzing it, uncovering the trends, figuring out how we can make better business decisions. I did go on to get certified. I have 11 certifications now, but over the course of 12 years, essentially. So it's about one certification every year. I started with certified admin like most people do. And that's one of the hardest certifications, in my opinion. It's so broad, and they expect you to know like a medium amount of detail in a lot of different areas. And it's the first exam you're taking. So it's very challenging to get that first one. What I found is if you spend some time in Salesforce doing some work hands-on and you start to gain some experience in an area, in 6 to 8 months of time of just working with the tools, you can go on to study for the related exam and take the certification. So that's been my path of learning Salesforce, how I got started. I worked for Salesforce customers from 2012 all the way up until 2020 when I made the transition into independent consulting. Along the way, I've helped write blog articles for reportforce.blog. I'm the co-leader of the Baltimore Salesforce admin group. So we have meetings just like this here in Baltimore. And I've been speaking at Salesforce events all around the world since 2017. Sheba, one thing I'm still waiting on is if you could stop your screen share so I can share on my end. That would be wonderful. Thank you. Okay. Here's all the text for everything I just said. And as Sheba mentioned, if you have any questions, any thoughts at all, please feel free to interrupt me. We can make this very conversational. The whole point of doing this live is so we can ask questions, learn from each other, that whole bit. So please, anytime at all, please interrupt me. I'd much rather be answering your questions than going through this uh, speech, essentially. So if you wanted to answer a question like this, which products are associated with each contact? If we look at the typical Salesforce architecture for this, we would want to associate products with contacts, but there is no direct relationship between records and those two objects. The only way we can bring together that data is by looking at the other objects sort of in between, following that path. Contacts are related to opportunities via opportunity contact roles, and opportunities are related to products via opportunity products. So if we were trying to bring together, show me all the products associated with each contact, we would need to traverse this data architecture. The placement of these is also very intentional. The child objects are below their respective parent objects. So opportunity contact role is a standard junction object. It has two relationships, one to contact, one to opportunity. And then opportunity products is similar. It's also a standard junction object, the relationship to opportunity and then to product. Now, a lot of people have tried to use joined reports to bring together this data set. And typically, joined reports are not going to fix a data architecture crisis. So they are really good for very specific scenarios, but they're not going to fix and like give you that single data set that you're looking for. The report type configuration I'm about to show you does solve for it. And luckily for us, it works on a bunch of different standard junction objects in Salesforce. Unfortunately, it doesn't work everywhere. So we'll talk about sort of the situations where this applies. So what this configuration is, you might be familiar with a left join, a right join, left outer join. This is a new type of join between two different objects. So if I had three records in one object, say I had three contacts, and then I have three products in another object. If I cross join or create a Cartesian product data set, I would get a report result for every unique combination of those records. So I would see a report result for 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, and 3.1, 3.2, 3.3. 9 results are going to be shown for 3 records in one object, 3 records in another. So it's a cross multiplication effect that's happening here. And it's a very interesting data set to work with once you make this happen. In its raw form, it's usually not that interesting or useful, but once you've created the data set and you filter it down, it can help you answer some really cool questions. Here is the first draft of the documentation that I have put together for this. There is nothing in Salesforce help articles that talk about Cartesian product. There's nothing that talks about the effects of these custom report type configurations. So I'm taking it upon myself to sort of write that first draft, and I'll be sending this to the product managers and the reports team to get their feedback and see if we can get this included somewhere. It'd be great for more visibility around this. And I'm also curious from them, where are the other situations where this is possible? Now, I won't bore you with that. I can send you the slides if you want to read through it. Essentially, we have to work on a standard junction object. We have to include a couple different objects, and then we have to have columns showing in the report. What I think is easier to understand is if I show you this picture. So we have parent object 1 and parent object 2, and then a junction object that creates that many-to-many relationship between them. Those three objects need to be standard objects from out-of-the-box Salesforce. And you're looking for any of these situations where you have a standard junction object. Then one of those parent objects needs to have another child object. So this related object at the bottom right down here can be any object. It can be a standard object, it can be a custom object, it can come from a managed package, you name it. Now the Cartesian product is going to be cross-multiplying the records from a standard junction object with the records from one of the objects that is related to one of the parents of that junction object. I know that's a mouthful, it's a lot to say. Hopefully this picture helps make that clear. If you have questions, please let me know. So let's jump into our situation where we're trying to figure out which products are associated with each contact. I have this org here, and I'm looking at just one opportunity to get our feet wet with this. Now, this one opportunity has 3 products: cables, pro laptop, and keyboard. And there are 3 contact roles related to this opportunity: Sarah, John, and Maria. So what you're seeing is that 3 records in one object and 3 records in another object. We're going to cross multiply them in our report results. Now, the way we do that is through setting up a custom report type. And you have to start with one of the parent objects for your standard junction object situation. And keep in mind, you could start on either end and make this happen in a lot of situations. So it does become a trial and error to get one of these set up. I'm going to stick with just a couple basic ones to show you how this works. So from a report type based on contacts, we just had the one object to begin with. We would see a report result for every contact record that we have access to in our system. Once we start relating another object, what you'll notice in this list is it's showing you a list of child objects. And that is always true. The API name will confirm that for you. The label that Salesforce puts, which is the first thing that shows up here, does not always correspond to the actual object that you're going to get in the report row details. And that's especially true for these Cartesian product cross-join configurations. If we scroll down here, a lot of these are, you get it, like activities, you would end up seeing a row for every activity related to a contact. If I chose assets, I'd get a detail row in my report results for every asset record related to a contact. Cases, same thing. If we go and look at opportunities, there is not a standard lookup relationship between contacts and opportunities. The only way they are related is via a standard junction object, opportunity contact roles. So even though this label says opportunities, the API name is telling you OCR-opportunity. This is the API name for the relationship on the opportunity contact role that points up to the contact object. Its label display value is opportunities, but the API name is telling you this is the opportunity contact role object. And what's interesting is typically you're working your way down your data architecture hierarchy. If you choose this and then go to relate a third object, it does sort of behave as if you just selected the opportunity object, because all of these options are child objects of opportunity. So I'll say that again. When we chose this second object, look at the API name to tell you what you're going to get in the report results. So when I choose this OCR-opportunity option, I'm going to see an opportunity contact role that's related to a contact with this configuration. When I go to add a third object, because this is a standard junction object in Salesforce's architecture, they allow you to take another step, starting with the opportunity and choosing another object. So in here, we see some typical things, activities, we see contact roles if we wanted to go back, we see opportunity feed, opportunity history, there's related list of orders. We also have products. And again, the standard architecture, I go back to this slide, between opportunity and products is also a junction object. We have already set up this side of it. If I wanted to report on my opportunity product records, and I'm on the opportunity object in my custom report type configuration, I can choose the option that has the API name opportunity line item, which is the name of that opportunity product junction object. The label Salesforce puts on it is products, essentially the other parent. But that is it. It's really just about me discovering all these little nuances and the details of what Salesforce is labeling it, what the API name is, and then I've done some testing to verify this by only having a certain number of records in each one of these objects and watching the effect. But this report type configuration, contacts with opportunities with products, is essentially allowing you to traverse from contacts to opportunities via this junction object, and then from opportunities to products via this junction object.
Can
You have a
I
question?
ask? Yes. Hi, Owen. It's really useful information what you are providing. Can you guys hear me properly?
Yes.
Okay. So I understood the first part very clearly that the first, like here, take contacts, opportunity, and opportunity contact roles. That
Yep.
should be a standard functionality from Salesforce. That cannot be a custom object or a custom relationship, correct? But
Yeah.
my
So you
question,
have to use a standard junction object and the standard relationships that are
yeah.
already in place.
So my question here is, now you are adding products. So
Yes.
can product be a custom object that is related to opportunity? Just for example.
Yeah. So
Okay.
from this slide, like if you wanted to do some other related object for what you choose as your third object, you could do that, yes. It
Okay.
could be any child of the second parent.
Second parent. Okay. Got
Yeah,
it. Thank you.
yeah. All right, so here's my configuration. Contacts with opportunities, AKA opportunity contact roles. And from there, I'm choosing that data set with products, which is really opportunity line items. And again, here is just an example. One opportunity has 3 products and 3 contact roles. Here's my report type configuration, the custom report type I've set up. Now, when I go create a report with that data set, and I have it filtered down just to show you this one opportunity, here's Sarah, John, and Maria, and each one of them has all 3 products. So we're getting 9 results in our report results here when we look at the detail rows. I have Sarah with cables, I have Sarah with a laptop, I have Sarah with a keyboard. Then I have John with cables, John with a laptop, John with a keyboard. Maria with cables, Maria with a laptop, Maria with a keyboard. And like I said, the raw data set is typically not that interesting. Like, Evan, why would you want this? Well, You could take this and group the rows by product name, which would allow you to add a chart to this report. Then from there, if we filter this down so that we're only looking at one contact, we can now see all of the quantity of all the products associated with that one contact across all opportunities, which is what I've done here. So I've taken that exact report, which is grouped by product. It shows the quantity, and I've put that report chart on the contact record page. When you add a report chart to a Lightning page, you have the option to filter by the record ID, essentially. What this is allowing you to do is now I can look at any contact record in Salesforce using this report and understand the quantity of products associated with that contact. There's lots of use cases for this. You could show pipeline products, like what is the quantity of all the products that this contact is interested in buying? Or you could look at show me the quantity of products from all closed won opportunities to see what they have in-house, if you need to support any of those things, et cetera, et cetera. And this data set, like answering this question, has been impossible unless you understood how to create this custom report type configuration. So that's quick and easy way to see like understanding that concept and then building that data set, but then applying it to have a real takeaway value add for anybody who's analyzing the quantity of products associated with each person across all the opportunities they are associated with. Somebody was asking, can we schedule this report? Yes. So any report you create, if you had this, you could schedule this and send out data on a regular basis. Again, with those same examples, if you wanted to look at the quantity of products associated with each contact for opportunities that were won this week, you would just add in those relevant filters, and you can schedule that from the subscribe option here in the drop-down menu. So this gives you all the timing of when you want to send this report, who you want to send it to, who the report runs as. You can even add conditions so that this only gets sent once it has data on it, that type of thing. Yeah, lots of really cool things you can do to get this data set to the people who need it the most. Any questions on this first part so far? Because the next couple examples get a little more complex than this. So if anybody has any doubts or concerns, let me know now. Yeah, that's true. So if you can't schedule joined reports, yes, these are regular tabular reports. You can do all the things in this report like schedule, you can do row level formulas, you can do summary formulas, you can group the columns and the rows. All the functionality of reporting is here for you. So that's the great thing about this, is we're not using a joined report. It allows you to do cross filters as well. So like everything you would ever want in a regular report can be done here. Okay, next couple examples of where you would use a configuration like this might be if you are like running your own conference, for example. Let's say you are inviting a bunch of people to a conference and you want to find out what are all the opportunities associated with all of the attendees of your conference. So the way we would track that in Salesforce is we would have a campaign. We'd be adding contacts to the campaign for everybody who's registering for the conference. And what we're trying to bring together is that campaign member data, all the people that are in our campaign. We want to see all of the opportunities associated with all of those people. Now, those opportunity records might not be directly related to the campaign, but we know that all the opportunities are related to the contacts. So we can generate a custom report type like this, where we start with campaigns as our parent object number one. I'll show it here. So imagine campaign is here. I say with at least one related record from contact. I choose contacts for number two. And keep in mind, the API name on that is going to allude to the fact that the relationship between campaigns and contacts is via a junction object. So campaigns here, contacts here, campaign members is our standard junction object that we are relying on for this configuration. And we want to cross-reference that with opportunity contact roles as our object down here at the bottom. So the way we get from contacts, aka the campaign members, to the opportunity contact roles is by choosing opportunities for the C option. So I'll show you that real quick. Campaigns with contacts, and it's telling you in the API name, this is the campaign member object. When you see this, you know that if you go to relate another object, it's going to allow you to start from the contact and choose another object. And then again, down here, if I choose opportunities, the API name is telling me OCR-opportunities is that opportunity contact role. So that's how I've generated that one. And what it allows me to do is I can now prioritize all the contacts that are coming to my conference. I can see the sum of amount for all of the opportunities they are affiliated with. And it allows me to build this type of report and put it on the campaign record page. And I can sort it by sum of amount in descending order. And I can see that I really want to talk to Maria Johnson because I know she has over $2.5 million of open opportunities that we might want to close with her and her company. If I see Sarah, great, yes, that's important too, but let's make sure we show Maria Johnson a good time. Any questions on that configuration? Sheba, you're on mute.
No, I'm good. I'm just coaxing people here to go.
Okay, sure.
Can I ask something here?
Yeah.
So in this example, you used two standard junction object, correct?
Yes.
Campaign member and the contact opportunity role.
Opportunity contact role. Yes.
Yeah. So if I have a custom junction object, can that be used?
I haven't been able to get this to work for a custom junction object. All three of these need to be standard. So you need a standard junction object related to two standard Salesforce objects. The only
So
one that
that
can
is
be
there.
custom is this one over here.
Yeah, so that is there. So if I take campaign member object, that is a standard object, a standard junction object with two standard objects. Then
Yes.
the third one I'm taking, so instead of contact opportunity role, I cannot take the custom junction object, correct? With combination
Yeah.
of one standard junction object.
Yes. Yep. So that, yeah, what you're talking about is number 3 here. So I've done a little bit of digging to understand which architectures support this Cartesian product. And what you're talking about is number 3. So you can combine campaign members with any child or grandchild object of campaign, contact, or lead, depending on what you're using as the parent of campaign member. So yeah, if you have relating to campaign some custom junction object, you can use that. And again, you can do a child, or there is the ability to do a fourth level in a custom report type. So you could do a grandchild object.
Okay.
Yeah, which is actually my last example here is doing a grandchild object. So let me show you what that looks like. it starts off very similar. So the use case here is instead of just looking at the opportunities related to the people coming to my conference, what if I wanted to understand which products should I be showcasing in demos at the conference? So I want to know for all the open opportunities in the pipeline, some of the price of all the products associated with those opportunities. So I'm taking this same concept, but extending it one step further to look at all the products on the opportunities instead of just the people. So the way you do that with the configuration is I started with the same thing, campaigns with contacts with opportunities. But when you get down to that level, you can take yet another step to get a fourth object into the configuration. And again, starting from this, when you relate another object, you're able to choose any child object of opportunity. So I see activity, I see contact roles, I see orders. If you have custom objects, they will show up here too. So like there's this custom opportunity history object with the underscore C. So all of that's going to show up. And again, if I choose products here, I will get all of the products cross-joined with campaign members, which is kind of cool. There's also these scenarios where you can still choose this with or without relationship, which starts to get really crazy because you'll end up seeing all campaign member records, regardless if they are related to opportunities that have products, and you'll still get the cross multiplication effect. So it just makes it one step further of if you needed that for any reason, you have this really complex data set. And what you would do with something like this is you're able to create a graph like this and filter it down to a specific campaign. Now I can see for all of the people coming to my conference, I want to look at all of the products on the open opportunities associated with them, and then I'm summing up the total price and sorting in descending order. And that really helps me know I should be demoing pro laptops because there's a lot of people who have it, in their shopping cart or they're going through some sort of deal negotiation, and I want to make sure they have all their questions answered about pro laptops. And I really don't need to worry about cables, keyboards, books, or anything else. So that should be my main focus at my conference.
So I had a question. Like, you have time-stamped it as of today at 5:21.
Mhm.
How did you get that?
So this is just part of the report chart component. It tells you the last time this report was run. So as you're looking at a record here, you can click to refresh that, and that'll give you the latest data.
Okay, got it. And as I said, we can only get it by doing it. So I mean, we've all done a lot of reports and dashboards, but there's always been a curveball. And so, is it possible to? How do we reach out in case we try to practice what you've just taught in our own orgs? How do we, if and we hit a brick wall, not being able to understand something? How do we? What's the best way to contact you and check our doubts?
Yeah, so I have my email here if you want to email me. I'm also on LinkedIn. If you're on Ohana Slack in the Slack channels, you could tag me there in the reporting and dashboards channel. Would be a good spot for this. So yeah, definitely happy to help. If you're playing with this or have questions, reach out and we can look through it together.
Can you explain the Ohana channel again? I am not aware of that.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
pull it
Poonam, I
up.
will send you the invite to that Slack channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can join. It's really helpful.
Okay.
hmm I'll just look at, there's a general somewhere and it'll tell me how many people there are. This is, and I was surprised to see this. There are like almost 16,000 people in Ohana Slack from all around the world that are involved in the Salesforce ecosystem.
Yeah,
And there's hundreds of channels in here. One of them that I keep an eye on is the reports and dashboards channel.
Yeah.
So if people have questions, it's a good place to start a thread, ask a question, post some screenshots, and there's lots of people who are willing to jump in and help you figure stuff out.
Yeah, actually, also put this event there.
Yeah,
So, so people who are interested in the
right.
topic.
Oh, that's cool actually.
Yeah. Yeah, Sheba, if you can invite everybody because you have their emails, that'd be the easiest way to get everybody in.
You're in mute, Shiba.
I'm sorry, somebody just came asking questions. So, could you repeat what?
Oh, if you're able to invite people because you have their emails, you'll be able to get them into the Ohana Slack.
Hana Slack? Okay, let me just check if I can find a common link. Copy. Yeah, I did find a link. Everybody's in luck. So, I can send. 1 second. Oh, where did the chat disappear? There. Okay. Here you go, everyone. That's this Ohana Slack link. Please join. And those who are even looking for new breaks, let me tell you, they have in their careers a lot of posts that you can, you know, avail of. You can apply to jobs there. There's a careers channel. Join that one, and it will be helpful.
Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah, well, I'll open it up. If there's any questions or any thoughts you've had from this, happy to chat about it and help you with anything you're thinking about.
Yeah, I would say I really enjoyed the session and it was really very informative. I generally go to joint report if there is no relation between objects to grab data from two different, places.
Mhm.
But definitely I'm going to keep these scenarios in my mind and definitely looking forward to get hands-on.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining.
Thank
Like I
you.
said, I have these 3 situations sort of confirmed, but I'm sure there's others. So if you come across another Cartesian product configuration, I'd love to hear about it. So find me on LinkedIn or send me a message on Ohana Slack, and I'll add it to the list to make sure that we get this documented.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Evan. It's really informative. Thank you.
Thanks,
absolutely.
Poonam, for wonderful questions. Yeah, here we have one question from the room. Stephen, you want to
Okay.
come?
Just a quick question. So at what point do you throw your hands up in the air and go, there's no way to generate a report using Salesforce reports and we have to do some sort of like custom solution like a Visualforce page or a Lightning Web component that displays a table of the information that you're looking for, like a custom report in that method?
Yeah, I have never gotten to the point where I abandon reports. I think what I end up doing first is I will create a custom object and sort of manipulate the data and get it stored somewhere so that I can build a report. And the main reason for that is I have tried to go down that road before and trying to replicate like filters and grouping and summaries and summary formulas and like all the bells and whistles you get in the report builder are all so valuable and allow you to have that flexibility. So a lot of times it's the limitation is coming from not having the right data architecture. So sometimes, especially if we go into an existing org, it's more about how can we automate the creation of the data set that will then enable a standard report to run. And I've done that a couple times where a lot of it is more like reporting snapshot type situations.
I
Have an
can
organization that
think of one use case is where the data is not in Salesforce and you don't want to replicate the data in Salesforce. So for example, it might be coming from a web service of some sort. So
okay.
it's external to the org and you
Yeah.
don't want to store that data locally unless you want to create some sort of temporary storage. But I mean, I guess that's one option. I could see
Yeah.
that, but yeah, that might be a, use case where you just can't really utilize Salesforce reports.
Sure. Yeah, and if you're doing that and that data is important, I'm hoping you're a big enough organization you could afford Tableau or Einstein Analytics or whatever, CRM Analytics. So a lot of those tools will let you, on a schedule, bring in those external data sources, and they have wonderful visualization capabilities. So if you're willing to accept,
Does this work with external objects? Have you
I
ever?
haven't tried it, but I imagine it would.
I believe there are some limitations. I think I just went through some training on that, and I thought there was something in regards to that with report limitations on external objects, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm just saying that's just when the alarm bells go off there. That's all.
Yeah.
It made me wonder, like,
Yeah. I think if this was an external object, you might be able to get it included in your configuration. That is my hypothesis. But yeah, please, if you have an external object set up, see if you can make that happen.
Okay, yeah, might be a good experiment.
Yeah.
So yeah, another one is like, do you find a lot of reports being made through flows and then being used in agents? Is that a situation use case that you came across?
I haven't created reports in flows. So no. Anything an agent would do would be sourcing the data wherever it's stored. So typically they're not using a Salesforce report to do that. Yeah, good question.
Yeah, I mean, because in the flows you can kind of like produce a list of say if you have contacts or leads or say volunteers, you can create a list of that, and then you can filter it. Say,
Yeah.
I want to filter it by say time, number of hours somebody worked or whatever. So you could
Okay.
filter it, right, in flows. So, and that's one way to bring data into agents, right, is through flows.
Yeah.
Of course, now there is MCP, which is the buzzword of the day, because earlier it was RAG, and now it's
Right.
MCP. RAG was retriever augmented generation,
Mhm.
and MCP is model context protocol, right?
Okay.
So now that's what gets the external, like you can link it with external sources. Like in RAG, you could get PDFs or images, and you could use LLM to kind of ingest it and query it, like invoices or.
Well, MCP is not GA yet, but the next month, I believe. They're launching it next month.
Sunil is saying that MCP is going to be GA next month.
I think so. I think so. It was
He
like,
thinks so.
I'm not really sure. Because the Salesforce does a nice presentation, looks cool. And
Yeah,
gradually-
but mostly what he says comes out true.
I
So
don't know.
maybe it's going to be GA soon. So.
Okay.
So, I mean, yeah, I'm just like wondering, like in the current scenario of agents and MCP, etc., how does reporting, the old school reporting, still, can be integrated into this newer tools that are coming up?
Yeah. So, Ivan, we will have to have a session with you with MCP stuff. I know you like to do cool stuff there. And they're coming up with the 30 odd connectors with like Box and other fun stuff there too. And so we're testing out some stuff with like a Box has the AI features now.
Okay.
About. So technically you can do the RAG stuff in Box, and then you basically have a connector and bring it into Salesforce and all the fun stuff, right? So one thing is you can connect multiple systems for multiple things. And I'm sure the Snowflake is other well, it's good to see that functionality expanding. But bottom line is like you can keep one source of truth at Salesforce, and you can pull the data from other sources inside Salesforce, rather than trying to go to systems that before it was not easily integratable. Now I think that with MCP stuff, it's going to get more easily integratable. So, well, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I know you like to experiment. I remember your first session I saw your Deluxe reports is awesome, and I said, okay, you like to do something offbeat, so that's the next one.
Okay. Yeah. Always keeping me on my toes.
Yeah, why not? So that's the thing. Like, if you do something interesting first time, people will come back to you all the time.
Right. So, yeah, that's awesome. I think everybody benefited from this, and we are going to post this video recording in our YouTube channel. You can look up San Ramon Trailblazers in YouTube, or let me share my slide deck with you, and that also has a link. 1 minute. Ivan, Ivan's presentation also I will share in that YouTube. Just 1 second. One second. Okay, anyone with the link?
Put it in the chat. How about that?
I'm doing it.
Expression you like it. That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, here it is. Sorry for keeping you all waiting.
Message everybody.
I sent it.
You sent
You
it?
sent it? Okay, good.
It's in the chat.
Oh, yeah, no, YouTube channel, and then this is my slide deck.
Good.
Very good.
So the YouTube channel where we'll upload this video will also have Ivan's deck, the link for that. So yeah, that was it. Does anyone have any more questions or any last remarks? Or we'll give some time back to everyone to ingest everything that was shared today, and I encourage everyone, including I will do myself, to pick up an org and put our hands down to what was taught today and practice it. So yeah.
I haven't done a report in a long time, that's for sure.
Yeah. So the end users will definitely appreciate better the reporting. Everybody appreciates, brings transparency and trust. Number one value of Salesforce. Okay, everybody, enjoy the rest of your day. And thanks so much, Ivan, for an excellent presentation as usual. And yeah, good night, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Shiva.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
They need to have, like,